There is no way to turn me off a movie faster than having the movie creators describe it as strong female lead. Hello everyone, Ren here, or Alias, and today I shall discuss the problem with strong female lead movies. If you haven't seen my how to fix race swapping video, you may know the answer already. The simple answer is good writing. A good female lead should be a good character first, female second. You do not write characters based on a single trait. You write characters, then you add traits to them. I feel like a lot of movies have their priority wrongs where they care of diversity over good writing. You can have a good character and then just make it a woman. If the character is good enough, the gender doesn't really matter. A good example of a strong female lead is from a movie that I saw a couple of days ago, Legally Blonde. Now, the whole point of this movie is that this blonde bimbo becomes a lawyer and she's supposed to suck at it. And throughout the whole movie, she constantly proves the audience wrong. She does not suck as a lawyer. And even when there's a big plot point, like almost at the end of the movie, I'm not gonna spoil it in case you haven't seen it. Yeah, she has a moment of weakness, but then she gets back on it and she doesn't change her personality. She's a strong female lead on that movie. She's an amazing protagonist. It's an enjoyable movie. Even though she's a dumb bimbo, you root for her. Because she stops being a dumb bimbo. She does not sink back into her little cubbyhole. She still has all of her quirky traits. But now she's an actually decent lawyer. That's the example of a good strong female lead movie with the female on par with good writing. Because it's supposed to play a joke on the dumb blonde trope. So I don't think there's a way that you could swap genders. Maybe you could. A dumb jock into a smart man. But I don't know if that's done before. Now, a bad, strong female lead character is a character that fills a power fantasy. If the author is writing a power fantasy, it will reflect badly on the protagonist, because the whole world would bend over backwards for the protagonist. And it's not really a female problem. If any story is a power fantasy, then the story tends to be bad just by default. There's almost no good way to write a power fantasy. This branch of female protagonists are called the Mary Sues. It's a character that the whole world bends over backwards for them because they're the protagonists. They have to be good because they are the good person, and if they constantly tell you that they're the good person, that's even worse writing because that's telling instead of showing. It's a movie. Show that the protagonist is good. Don't tell us that the protagonist is good. On your writing, it should reflect. A good example of this, or not a good example, but the only modern example that comes to my mind, it's Rey from the Star Wars sequels. She's strong with the Force just because she was special. And granted, Luke was also strong with the Force because he was special. But he had to train his ass off to be that strong. And he wasn't even stronger than Darth Vader. Darth Vader still kicked Luke's ass, and he won by making Darth Vader good again. And on the sequels, Rey's just good because the plot needs her to be good. She does train a bit with Luke on the second movie, but it doesn't feel like she's training her ass off all the time. Except like at the beginning of the third movie, or I guess episode 9, you can like be like, oh, she's training in the forest. That's how she became this strong. It felt too Mary Sue. Also, the sequels just had bad writing. This is a big point of a strong female lead, or a good character in general. If you can swap any trait, like change the race, change the gender, and change anything. If you can change anything, and it still makes sense, that's a really good character. Now, if you already created a character and you have it out, then you decide to reboot it and change the race, then it feels cheap because it feels like you're doing it for diversity instead of wanting to create something new. Again, I'll refer you all to my the problems with race swapping video that I made a while ago. So, a good character should be able to have its trait swap with anything, like external traits. So a strong female lead should be able to be a strong male lead. Gender doesn't really matter, because a bad character will stay a bad character. Mary Sue's is what happens when you have a bad lead. Mary Sue's also, like, it doesn't matter the gender, but a Mary Sue doesn't automatically make a movie bad if the story is, like, good enough. Because technically speaking, Harry Potter and Katniss are both Mary Sue's. Both of their worlds fucking bent over backwards to make him special because they're the chosen one. But that's a problem with the chosen one trope, not really a strong female Mary Sue problem. A lot of chosen ones just tend to be Mary Sue's because the story needs them to be. They're special for a reason. But it makes in-world sense, and those stories are still good because they are chosen one. They outright tell you they're special. If the characters aren't supposed to be special, but everybody treats them like they're special, then that feels like a bad Mary Sue, because there's no reason for the character to have this treatment, yet everybody treats them this way. It's a bad writing problem, not really a gender issue. So if you ever see a movie and the headline is strong female lead, assume it's a Mary Sue. It'll probably be okay, especially if it's an action movie, because action movies, the good parts are the action, not really the story. Like John Wick. John Wick is not a Mary Sue. I don't think it is. He's a strong male lead because he's still vulnerable. And if instead of John Wick it was Jane Wick, it would still work because that's just a simple character. Somebody killed someone's dog and now they want to take out everybody who killed the dog. The gender doesn't really matter. It just happens that it was John Wick instead of Jane Wick. A strong female lead should not be put on a pedestal. It should be shown. It should be there. You should be able to like the character without the author telling you you have to like the character. So just like race swapping, how do you fix a strong female lead? Better writing. Make sure you write your characters well before you decide their traits. Because again, nobody gives a shit about race, gender, sexual orientation, religion. Nobody cares about that stuff if the character is good. Well, this has been all. This has been Ren, or Alias. And thanks for this person for letting me crash into their studio. Let me pull up the world. CTV Studio. This is the studio I am on. Thanks for this person for making this world that I borrowed, quote unquote. It's a public world. You can check it on VR chat. I think I'm gonna make this my permanent base. Cause yeah, it has a desk and a TV. Oh shit, and a TV. If you look at my April Fool's video, this was kind of like the setup I wanted. So now I have one on VR chat. Alright, bye bye.